Deep breaths.
My talk today is called The Shield That Protects. Understanding forgiveness, pre-forgiving, and acceptance. Webster defines the word as absolution, pardon, amnesty, or remission. Forgiveness is a decision that one makes to release resentment, hatred, anger, pulling the pebble out of the existential shoe of life, saying to yourself, I no longer have use for this added spiritual inflammation in my life. The definition implies that the act of forgiveness occurs after the incident that causes the psychic injury or turmoil that you need to forgive. This makes some sense, of course, but it's really more of a process working toward understanding an attitude, state of mind that is practiced like meditation, that preemptively does not take the actions of others personally, but accepts life as it happens with all its seeming chaos, contradiction, divine will, fate, and inevitability. If I don't take life personally, I feel a whole lot less victimized. To paraphrase Carlos Castaneda's, you must care without caring. This process of getting to forgiveness does not mean forgetting the offense. It means that I will take appropriate action to mitigate the situation however I can and not live in the past, stewing, contriving ways of avenging, and being in a state of anger. The word forgive itself has a prefix built in, the for, or to become the for. What's the lesson here? I believe it's you should take nothing personally. No matter how directly personal I may feel the act was intended, I can't take anything personally. Don Miguel Ruiz's Pillars of Life is take nothing personally, and I really believe that. Acceptance is a close relative of forgiveness. Acceptance is knowing that what is may or may not always be. Acceptance opens the door to a clearer, deeper understanding of a situation from the very beginning. Understanding is an important step toward acceptance. In Unity's Christian view, the God within grants us the ability to make mistakes even and through grace be forgiven. Born again, clean slate to start over. The reason I forgive is forgiveness guides me on the path to peace. Peace frees me to be in this precious moment. Let's look at 3 stories of forgiveness and how each one is a little bit different, but have many similarities. The story of Jacob and Joseph, the dream interpreter, one of Jacob's favorite sons, as told in the book of Genesis. This story is filled with a lot of time for fermenting deceit, paternal and sibling rivalry, dysfunction, malice, jealousy, persistence, weakness, contrition and understanding, acceptance, and ultimately forgiving. Jacob was a farmer in the land of Canaan. Jacob was older and had 12 sons from 2 wives and concubines. We could get into that, but maybe some other time. Well, as the story is written, Joseph had his favorites, both in wives and sons, and Jacob, with his favorite wife, had 2 sons, Joseph and Benjamin. Benjamin the youngest and was Joseph's closest brother. Joseph's second son had a gift of being able to interpret dreams. On Joseph's 17th birthday, Joseph gave the coat of many colors, which was especially generous gift by his father, which made the older brothers deeply jealous. One reason was the firstborn right passage, a tradition that was deeply held. One day, Jacob sends all his sons out to tend the fields, and Joseph, in his youthful innocence, says, "Wow, I had a dream last night. I dreamt that all you brothers bowed down to me. Not only did the brothers bow down to me, the sheaves of the field, the wheat sheaves, bowed down as well." That dream infuriated the second oldest brother, so much so that he said, we should kill him. I mean, that's pretty strong reaction. But the oldest brother said, "No, I have a better idea. Let's tear up the robe that kind of represents his favorite position, and let's put him in a pit. We'll tear up the robe, many colors, and put him in a pit and let him die there." As providence or luck, chaos, coincidence, or life would have it, a caravan is passing just then, and they decide to sell Joseph into slavery. They get 20 pieces of silver for him, and he's taken to Egypt and sold to Potiphar. And Joseph, being smart and handsome, becomes a trusted manager of Potiphar's family. Potiphar, who was gone often, left Joseph in charge, and Potiphar's wife found Joseph too cute to resist. But when Joseph said thanks but no thanks to her advances, Potiphar's wife tells him, "Joseph was hitting on me," and Potiphar sends Joseph to jail. While in jail, he meets two prisoners there, and he interprets two dreams from these prisoners, one of which, both these prisoners had done something in the Pharaoh's house that had them thrown in jail. One of the dreams was interpreted as, you're going to be executed, and the other person was, you're going to be reinstated to your position. So Joseph already had been in jail for 2 years for the slight against Potiphar's wife. So Joseph had, Pharaoh had a dream that was not satisfactorily interpreted by his advisors. So the servant that had been forgiven for his slight against Pharaoh told Pharaoh about Joseph, and he said, "This man really knows how to divine what dreams are." So Pharaoh calls on Joseph to interpret his dream, and Joseph proceeds to tell Pharaoh that there would be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. For this act of prophecy, Joseph is made Pharaoh's chief minister of preparation, where the famines are. What is interesting to me is that Joseph never whined, accused, or blamed. He accepted his path with full faith, acceptance, and peace. A decade had passed since he was sold into slavery, and he still had faith. As it happens, the famine that happened in Egypt also was happening in the land of Canaan. Jacob's family is suffering as well, and he sends his sons back to Pharaoh to buy the grain that they need to survive. And the brothers do as they're told, and they bring the youngest. All the brothers come to Joseph, and Joseph, as he agrees, sells them all the provisions that they need to get them through. And just as they're leaving, the Pharaoh's guard comes chasing after him and says, one of you has stolen something from Pharaoh's house. And so Joseph says, I'm going to keep Benjamin, the youngest, and enslave all you brothers. And one of the oldest brothers said, no, no, no. He says, take all of us and leave Benjamin to go back to his father. If you take Benjamin, this will kill his father. Joseph could see that in their brothers' hearts there was true contrition, and from the brothers revealed himself to them, and soon Joseph revealed himself to them. He asked them to come and live close to him under his protection. And the amazing thing about this story of betrayal and how close the betrayal was. It was family members. It was someone they grew up together. But he never lost faith. Joseph showed fortitude and strength, very importantly, not to take actions of the other people personally. The second story is about me being robbed by a friend. I must confess I have an attachment to the idea that my money is mine. I've been saying mine since I was very young. The notion that trust is a bond when broken is very serious. It just seems so natural to me. But in reality, I wanted my pound of flesh, as Shylock did in The Merchant of Venice. Turns out, a childhood friend that I had taken in when he was going through a divorce and a hard time stole half ownership of a home that we had purchased together. This happened when I had moved to the Caribbean, living out of the country. My friend hired a lawyer, filled out paperwork, and removed me from title. Abandonment was the main reason to take advantage of the situation, even though I was taking care of my part of our deal. He used another person I had grown up with, a lawyer, to accomplish this deceit. I most certainly did not feel his feelings, and he was not feeling mine. The truth is, offenders may not feel anything close to what we feel, and may not even give a care about whether or not they're hurting anyone, whether they are causing pain, or they have broken the law. They may be on the beach drinking pina coladas and working on their tan. The resolution was totally an upsetting affair in that I had to go out and get a lawyer, spend money that I could ill afford at the time. The process of mitigation on my part taught me a good lesson that the law works even though it may not be completely fair. I hired a top attorney in his jurisdiction. 2 letters were sent. 60 days later, I was made whole. I think my friend knew that he would suffer more if he didn't make things right. The lesson I learned was do not accept injustice, but accept the outcome of what you have done to resolve the situation as sufficient. I lost many hours of sleep needlessly. I proceeded to act with purpose and seek amends for myself. I was able to forgive because I worked toward understanding and to acceptance. I think what I learned was, let not perfection be the enemy of the good. Self-forgiveness is a tough one for me because it requires a look in the mirror, a mirror that reflects who I am and what I do after I've been hurt, betrayed, or embarrassed. I'm not sure that there is a quick or easy solution when processing the incident or knowing oneself. What are the triggers that muddle my thinking or keep me separate from clearer thinking? What is causing my obsessive reaction to this light? Now, if I had not taken the words or actions personally, I wouldn't need to work through my issues. I could jump directly to action. The third story is a friend of mine was working in Central America helping the indigenous farmers form cooperatives and increase crop productivity. The family he was living with for a few years had 2 teenage children, a boy 16 and a girl 14. One evening, the Guatemalan army came into his house, kidnapped, tortured, and killed both children. My friend said, until he understood that the army soldiers were so brainwashed that they were not responsible for their actions, that he was able to forgive and release the past. When having a need to forgive, forgiveness does not necessarily happen overnight. Understanding the roots of the hurt, anger, sadness, loss, and pain, even the brainwashing, takes time to process. Another question is, what is my part in the event? I often end up seeing that I was the one who walked into the situation with my eyes wide shut, not seeing what I was actually seeing. Trusting that other people see fairness as I do is iffy at best. There is no reason to assume, because the perceived perpetrator may or may not know, or may not even care the inflicted hurt. It sounds to them like a personal problem. Jack Kornfield, in his book, The Art of Forgiveness, Loving Kindness, and Peace, states, without forgiveness, our lives are chained, forced to carry the suffering of the past and repeat the suffering with no release. After being rescued from a prisoner of war camp, consider what 2 prisoners of war were talking about. Have you forgiven your captors yet? No, never. Well then, they still have you in prison, don't they? The work of forgiveness primarily is for ourselves. Jack Kornfield goes on to say, we may suffer terribly from the past, but those who betray us may be on vacation. One last Kornfield quote that I really like. Forgiveness means giving up all hope for a better past. Forgiveness does not forget or condone. We grow with wisdom and courage when we work to forgive, Why do we see things differently as time passes when the same facts existed all along? Is it evolution? Probably ego. Have we adjusted our narrative? Do we only see what we want to see depending on where our needle of fairness meter is pointing? Be courageous, be resolved to understand yourself and others. Peace, my friends.
That was great. Thank you very much.